Legally Clueless has teamed up with She Walks, an initiative by Johnny Walker to spotlight and celebrate women making bold choices that are impacting communities. And in this episode, we are going to meet a woman who not only made the bold choice of running for public office in her early 20s, but right now she's doing incredible work ensuring that women are adequately represented in matters governance.
Hi, my name is Bina Maseno, the team leader and executive director at Legally Africa, and also Miss President Nairobi from the Miss President campaign in 2022. So at Legally Africa, we are very keen on cultivating the leadership and political engagement of grassroots women who organize in chamas. These are the economic networks for women in mostly rural and informal settlement, also women in Nyumba Kumi and women guilds, and young people in learning institutions, so the universities, colleges, TVETs, and also we are very keen and intentional on ending gender-based violence as a very, very key deterrent to how especially women occupy political and policy spaces. I was born and bred in Kayole. Growing up, access to basic needs was a big deal. Access to even just water, just running through your taps. Crime was on the rise at the community level. I always see that until you visit other people outside an informal settlement is when you realize some things are actually a right, that other people have water running down their taps every other day. But then you grow up in a community where you feel like it's a privilege to actually access basic rights like water, like food, like a clean environment, right? I mean, you grow up in communities where children are dying of cholera, literally cholera. So that was the kind of environment that I grew up in. And I was lucky to start engaging actively in the community groups where we're just talking about leadership and holding members of county assembly accountable. But at that particular point, I couldn't conceptualize fully how that looks like. Like, what does it mean to actually hold a leader accountable? Because I was 17, 18, is when I began to understand, what it means when someone sits in office and how it impacts us at the community level. But then one thing was very clear, that politics affects everything. Politics affects whether I can access food, how many times in a day. Politics affects whether I can wear this hair or I'm going to shave my hair. Politics affects where I stay. Politics affects what time I need to come home because of security issues. So I got to realize that most of the challenges we're discussing at the community, they would start saying, you know what, it's because this leader is not doing this. So I got to understand that, you know what, so at the core of all these things is political leadership. Like, it's all interconnected. The quality of the leaders who occupy office are also going to either determine the quality of life I'm going to live in this community because of their, either if they live out their values and if they deliver on the promises they make during their campaigns, and many a times they were not doing that. I think they will have like a few needs. My parents were not able to support my education. My mom used to run a kiosk at the community that sells vegetables, na matunda, fruits and all that. Kibanda, unajua kibandaski, eh? My dad was a matatu driver. So with that kind of situation, they're not able to support our education. 2012, right? 2012, 2011, I have managed to fundraise, to raise resources to go to university, right? And it wasn't easy, So now in 2012, siasa imechacha. Campaigns imechacha, And at the community level, we're discussing, what do we do? Like one of us needs to run for office, honestly. And then we just begin asking ourselves, who can do this? Things just like, this is the opportunity we have, because the only way to understand the decisions the leaders make is to actually join them when they're making those decisions. Then I said, run for office. But I didn't know the implication of that. But I was a tired citizen. I was like, honestly, we can't live like this. I have lost a couple of friends to crime. And I knew, even in my own community, this is probably going to be my fate once I finish campus. I might not get a job because I've had peers who finished and they don't even have access to opportunities. I was like, I need to do something. I was just a very frustrated and tired citizen at the time. When part of the people who supported my education heard that I have joined politics, they withdrew their support. So I lost my scholarship. And now the stakes were high. Hey, I was like, my friend, I better be the next MCA. Me, I'm not going back to the streets again to start begging for support, because if I don't win these political seats, like, I am done for, you know. I told my parents about it. And what was on top of their mind was security. I grew up in a family where even my own uncles would talk about the Moi regime and how brutal it was. So I grew up also fearing politicians. I'm just like, hey, you don't mess up with politicians. One time, I received a text and someone said, kawe ni mwanamke tosha, no, unatosha kuchukua hii kiti, na unajiamini, kesho kuja grao, uone kama hatuta kuingisha chupa. That's what someone texted, right? And you see, during politics, you just can't, you know, assume that someone is just threatening you, you see, because people use all means to win an election. And for some other candidates, violence is part of the strategy to deter you from running for political office. And that was also a very key concern to my family. We don't even have enough resources for security. And then one time I woke up and I tried to ring one of my security detail, like personnel, and my friend didn't pick, right? And I rang his phone again, it didn't ring. And then at 7 o'clock, I get a call from his brother. I call like, Bina, you heard what has happened to so and so. I'm like, no, I didn't. No, like, yeah, he was shot at 4 a.m. today. I'm sure my brother didn't tell you, but also he was one of the people on the hit list because of the crimes he's also committed in the community and all that, you know. And I think for me, that really broke me because number one, he was a friend, and number two, you know, he was one of those people who would tell me that, you know, Bina, like, I don't have money to support you, but I'll campaign for you. Like, I wish I could do much more for you, but I'll rally my friends for you. I'll be there for you, you know? And I feel like that's how my friends showed up. They knew as peers, we're not working, we may not have resources, but we have each other. That we can tap into our numbers as a resource. And I think the fact that, you know, politics is so fast, even when they said that, there's even no time to mourn him, you know, because you have to continue campaigning. Like, there's even no time to pause and even mourn your friends the way you'd want to mourn your friends. So to have peers who believe in you, it kind of like fuels you every other day. So I called my uncle. And my uncle said, you know what, we're going to get security for her, you know. And he was quite supportive of the campaign. And that's how I was able to, you know, have the courage to continue campaigning. Not having security comes with its own challenges. I've been stripped once in a political, you know, campaign, you know, trying to talk to people. And when I was exiting, someone tried to literally pull down my skirt, you know. It's how you can't even like react, because if you react, people feel like you don't have a thick skin, like you should have expected that, you know. Gender-based violence in elections is normalized as the cost of participating in elections. And that concerns me as Bina, because then it deters very many women and girls from showing up in political spaces, participating. On the day they were announcing the results, I remember entering the hall, the station where they were announcing the results. And at the end of the day, at 4 a.m., it was clear, I'm not going to win this seat. So for many days, I just stayed in the house. I couldn't even leave the house because I'm just like, how am I going to face the world? How am I going to face people? I remember even when I had a moment to speak to Pastor Gowi, I literally had to crawl my bed and out of the house that particular day when we decided to finally meet. And this day when we were seated talking about political participation, he asked me, what do you want to change in this community? And I said, there's these things that this is not working, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. And he said, do you think you winning political office is the only way you'd have changed that? And I feel like that was a light bulb moment for me, because I realized I actually don't have to be a politician to change things in my community. That the most important office is not even the office of the president, the office of the member of county assembly, member of parliament, woman representative, senator, governor. The most important office in this country is the office of the citizen. And it's important to understand how we can occupy that office effectively. And with that light bulb moment, I began to think of ways of engaging the community. So later on, I quickly rallied my campaign team. And it was very evident that even in the rallies we attended, generally even for other candidates, our own candidate, there was an absence of young women. In the rallies, even them sharing content, political content online, campaigning for you online and even offline, it was very evident. Even within the political party that I belonged to, it was very evident that there was an absence of young women meaningfully participating within the political processes. I began having conversations with my mom's friends. I'm like, wewe kwanza chama yako nikai kunisupport. Walipigia nani kura kwa chama yako? They're just like, Bina, honestly, you're like our daughter, so tunajua una do. But this politician actually promised us bursaries. This other one did ABC, So I began to see how this conversation is mapping out and how those networks also delivered big numbers for the leader, the MCAs, and even ultimately the MP who won the seat. How women really swayed and tilted, the votes towards them. And I think from there is when also the idea of Badili Africa was born. And also who we needed to target was very, very, very clear for us. What were your feelings, your thoughts while you were in the room, Vicky? Today we're going to go to Kibra. And we have a grassroots screening for the docufilm that we did called The Women Kingmakers. And it was adapted from the study that we did in 2022 that looked at the experiences of women political mobilizers in elections.
They are the invisible kingmakers, gathering crowds for politicians while on the campaign trail, pushing their agendas in the community.
Women have been key players right from pre-independence days. We've not appreciated their role in emancipation of this country.
Kuwa mwanamke uingie kwa politics. Kwanza kitu ya kwanza kuna title moja unapeangwa ya kwanza, wewe ni malaya.
So the people who are going to be in the room are Chama women leaders. We're going to have politically active women from the community who mobilize for political parties. We call all these community influencers. So we are hoping this particular film is going to ignite those conversations for them to locate their role in political processes and how going forward we can play a more meaningful role towards achieving the democratic ideals we so wish for and aspire for as Kenyan citizens in this particular country. I think for me, I'm just like, man, this has been like 2 years, just bringing this together. It's been 2 years, and I'm glad that we are going to use the film as an advocacy tool to spark these conversations about the quality of leadership in this country, our role, and going forward, how do we shape the governance space ahead of the 2027 elections? So, yeah, I'm so excited.
ya uongozi. Tuliza tu kwa nini amesimama? Amejua kwa nini amesimama? Kubadilisha maisha wanawa? Ajenda yetu ni wanawa?
Na unapata zile challenges tunapitia especially kwa community. Majority hizo challenges na affect akina nani? Wamama, si ndio? Gender based violence na affect nani? Female genital mutilation, human trafficking, all those challenges. Kazi, wamama, si ndio? That's why for us we are interrogating kama wamama ndio the chief mobilizers, mbona haitranslate kwa wamama ku occupy political office? Hizi chama tunakuanga nazo ndani mpaka tumenunua mashamba, si ndio? Tumechanga mpaka tumenunua shamba. Lakini mbona inakuwa challenge pia kuchangia mmoja wetu atafute hii kiti? Organizers wa kwa siasa ni nani? Akina mama, si ndio? Nani ushape campaign manifesto ya mwanasiasa? Akina mama. Si anakuja na kuulizaniaje? Shida kwa ground ni gani? Naomba watoto wako hivi, hawaendi shule, nini. They come and collect all those issues from us, then they form their campaign manifesto. But wakati washa occupy kiti, do they come back to us? Do we engage with them? Kwa nini? Biashara imeisha. Na zile promises wanatimiza? That's why we need to discuss these matters and see how do we then engage meaningfully. I think this would not even just be to young women alone, but to just young people. You're not too young to care politically about what is happening in this country. Politics affects everything you care about. The personal is political, and you need to locate your personal within the political processes in this particular country.
Because the disabled country, the lives that we are having, the value of politics. I'm so hopeful like the network will change my country.
Like start where you are. Locate your role where you are. I am in campus. What is not changing? What needs to change in campus? I am in this community. What is not changing? Oh, there's a water issue. How many guys are struggling with water in this community? Can I rally those guys who are struggling with water in this community? Oh, it's FGM. How many guys have been impacted by this particular issue? So locate yourself where you are and do something where you are. Umeona venye zile challenges wa mama wanapitia katika siasa, si ndio? Pia tumeona challenges za gender based violence, sio? But unadhani tukiunga na sisi wote kuna opportunity tunaweza badilisha mambo? Madhani kuna opportunity?
Vile inatumaliza ama inafanya tunaenda vibaya ni pesa. Mtu akisikia ule ananitolea 5,000 atamfuata tu bila kujua anaenda kumsimamia.
Tunabeba ufala juu tumepewa sehemu ya kutubeba ufala. Juu utakapo niambia ni kumobilize madem, sitakuuliza unataka madem, utatusaidia aje? Tutakuja nikuite tuende tupewe 200, at the end of the day atusaidiki.
I think overall for me it's them realizing that collectively, like us collectively here, not only as women, but as citizens, we are more powerful than the one politicians who come to us to ask for votes and they try and manipulate us. Then we can overcome that if we are very clear on what we want, number one, as citizens. And number two, if we work within a collective where if someone comes to me and they come to you, we are speaking the same language. I think for me, for them deciding, you know what, if we spoke the same way and looked at things the same way in terms of this is what we want for the community, and we all say the same thing when we are interfacing with leaders and we're able to hold them accountable, then we are good. Yeah. Activism and being an activist is not a reserve of a particular set of people, either in NGO or celebrities or, just a group of people. We should all be active citizens. Being an activist means you need to be an active citizen. And if enough of us would have been active, then we would not be where we are at, even currently in this country. Your voice is so important. Don't underestimate yourself.